Good morning, or good afternoon, or good day to all our viewers and our listeners. I am Michelle, the principal of the Thorburn School of Astrology, and today I'm actually joined with my colleague Thea De Beer. Hi, Thea, how are you doing?
Hi, Michelle. I'm good, thank you. Hello,
That,
viewers. Thank you
that's
for
good.
joining us.
So yes, it is the 1st of September today, and we are doing the new moon video, which is going to be in Virgo in a couple of days' time. And I just want to add here that we are so lucky in the Southern Hemisphere in the sense that it is spring for us. So the weather is getting warmer. It is spring day. So I feel that we are a lot more fortunate than the Northern Hemisphere at this time of the year because
Yes,
the new
definitely.
green is up, the new beginnings is here. And this is a beautiful new moon right now in Virgo that is all about new beginnings, and it's happening at the very early hours of Tuesday morning, the 3rd, at 3:56 in the morning. So if anybody's a nice early riser, you can actually just tune in to that new moon, that new beginning. So on that note, Thea, what what is significant for you about the new moon, and more specifically, what does it mean to have the new moon in Virgo?
Well, I first want to add to you just like mentioning the spring is coming up and whatever. This is our last new moon of our winter season. So in the Southern Hemisphere, you speaking about South Africa, not only it is also the time where we prepare the grounds to plant physical seeds. It's like a literal shift we're going through at the moment, and I love that. I love that about the Virgo new moon and being in the Southern Hemisphere, because we get to now,
Plant.
like, yes, and it's a good time while because we're preparing now, so after us coming through our winter season, it's a good time for us to reflect and see, okay, what is still working for me, what doesn't work for me. And with the Virgo new moon, it's the perfect new moon to do that, because Virgo is all about streamlining the processes, get rid of the clutter, so it's a very good, it's actually the perfect new moon to do this. And with Mercury just suddenly being out of retrograde, we can see our path a bit more clearer. So it's like literally we waking up from winter, we're starting to wiping our eyes and see the path forward.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. And so, Thea, how fortuitous are we in the Southern Hemisphere in the sense that very recently Mercury has come out of retrograde? And I don't know about you, but you and I were chatting before the show, and I can tell you that very definitely the confusion of the last good while, in my case, is actually definitely lifting without a doubt. And I'm definitely beginning to feel the new beginnings happening with inside myself. That could be because I am a Virgo, so I actually am quite influenced by these things. But by the same token, Thea, won't you just explain to the viewers that the new moon in Virgo is not only for Virgoans? In other words, it affects all of us, where we all have an opportunity to actually use this energy to our advantage. Would you like to elaborate on that?
Yes, it's not just for Virgos. I mean, we all got our own birth charts, and wherever Virgo is in your birth chart, obviously that would be the area that is highlighted. That's going to be highlighted for you. But I think as a collective in general, we can just look at the keywords of what Virgo represents, which is our daily routine. It's our health. Like, it's a good time to like see what I feel with a retrograde, with Mercury retrograde. I feel that a lot has come up for us in terms of your health, your routines, how you do things, how you navigate. And with this new moon, I feel we got a better, clearer picture of the state of our health, the state of our, how we do things, our daily routine, how we analyze things. And now is the time where I feel you can take the next step. Okay, what am I going to do? Why am I sick?
Yes.
You need to change some habits, maybe, you know,
Yes,
like,
yes.
yeah.
So just picking up on what you're saying over there. So first of all, for the viewers, for them to understand that when it is a new moon, the sun and the moon are at exactly the same degree. In other words, we don't see the moon in the sky. So on that basis, I'm just quickly going to bring up and share the screen. It would help if I went there. And to share the screen so that we can just see it, because one of the things that we want to do right now is also to, oh, what happened to, oh, there's my chart. Are you seeing that here?
It's probably coming now. I don't see it yet though. Oh, there we go.
Okay. Are you seeing the chart of the new moon at 11 degrees and 4 minutes?
I see your solar fire.
Okay, so what have I done wrong there? Let's just, sorry. I did set this whole thing up, and now you can see it.
Now I can see it, yes.
Okay, so just to let the viewers know that this is a chart. It's set up for South Africa. So I've used the capital being Pretoria. And we're going to speak about how this new moon can have an effect for the community, i.e. the South African community, but more specifically, we're looking at the individual. So you'll see here that the sun and the moon are at exactly the same degrees at 11 degrees and 04 minutes of Virgo. And one of the things that we need to understand about this new moon is that it happens once a year. So once a year, we will have a new moon in Virgo because of the cycles and the rhythms of our planets, etc. And it's always at this point in time. So think about your life and think about this point in time. About, is it not something about the 1st of September whereby you begin new things? I mean, overseas, the school year starts in September, where that's the beginning of the new school year, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot about the new beginning here. But Virgo specifically, as you said here, is I analyze. So it's really about looking at your life right now and really, again, this theme keeps coming up, but now the energies are perfect for you to do this. Because remember, the sun is your conscious mind and the moon is your emotions. So with them being in the same sign and starting this next 28-day cycle, we're starting off with it being synchronized. And so we synchronized now in terms of I'm analyzing my life. What do I need to what do I need to let go of? What do I need to keep? What do I need to adjust? Because one of the things that we must remember about Virgo is that it also represents being discerning. It's just all about discernment. So what does that mean? That means that you can have 20 friends, okay, and you can enjoy all 20 of them. But when you're discerning, you actually decide who you are going to maybe tell your innermost secrets to. You're going to discern amongst that which you are in terms of what you tell people and all the rest of it. So we need to look at our resources because Virgo is also, as you said, Thea, it's about planting, it's physical, it's about all of these sort of things. So it's the time to plant. So we're looking at our material needs as well. So when it comes to your money and your resources, now your resources can also be your talents. what talents have you not used that you need to start analyzing and accepting the gift of your talents? We were speaking about that earlier, Thea,
Yeah.
in terms of myself. So what are the gifts that you've got, your talents, that you've possibly never recognized? Because Virgo can be very self-critical. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
not good enough. Oh,
Yes.
others are better than me. Oh, I'm not going to do it because 1,000 people have done it before me. So we've got to remember that with Virgo, we also have this inferiority that comes through that we've
Yeah.
just got to move past in terms of looking at our lives and looking at our own ability to purify and declutter our own lives.
Yes. And with all of that being said, and like you said, Virgo is a very self-critical sign. While we do all of this analyzing and see what we need to and what we don't have to, be mindful of not being self-critical while you're doing this. This is very important, I feel. Like, don't look at yourself in judgment or critic or whatever. We need to do it in a space of love, self-love.
Yes. And
Yeah.
the thing is, again, the skies are helping us to do this
Yes.
because Venus, the planet of love, okay, it is the love of relationships. So let's not forget that. But Venus is the planet of love and it's in its own sign, Libra. So, in a way, the Venus is very strong right now on the theme of love. And all the love that you are always able to give out to other people, maybe it's the time for you to actually go within and look at yourself and start seeing how you can apply all that external love to yourself as an internal love. So, and that would be one of the tools that you would use, isn't it, Thea, in order to get past the self-judgment, the criticism, etc., etc., etc.
Yes, and then Venus being in conjunct with the South Node in supports this energy and to make it easier for us, because it asks of us to like release old relationships and thinking patterns. I mean, even if it means your old relationship with yourself, like you need to self-criticism, all of those things needs to flip
Yeah,
into self-love.
I think what you've said now is really, really important for the viewers. And the reason why I'm actually just going to harp on it a little bit is because, as you say, Venus, the planet of love and relationships, is together with the South Node, that which no longer serves us, the comfort zone. So, but very often our comfort zone is keeping us stuck because we're not able to get into the Aries fiery energy of forging ahead with our dreams, our ambitions, our ideals, etc., our goals, etc., etc. So with that whole thing, again, it's the case of looking at your life and with discernment, using your analytical, using the energies of the analyzer at this point in time to actually say, I need to be realistic about what relationships work for me and what don't. And I need to actually start loving myself so that I can begin to get on with my future, my goals, my ambitions, where I can accept my talents and values and not make them wrong anymore because other people didn't agree with me on that.
Yes.
So if you are in a situation where other people are not agreeing with you right now, I would say to you, the time for being humble is over, because remember, all this Virgo energy is about humbleness. And this is not about being arrogant. This is not about bullying other people to say, well, I don't agree with your point of view, you've got to listen to mine. Okay. I think it's more about we've actually got two different opinions of this, and I'm not even going to argue with you on your opinion. And I don't expect you to actually agree with mine. Would you say that that would be quite a useful way of approaching that, Thea?
Yes, to agree to disagree, and it's okay. Yeah, no, definitely.
One of the things that I learned in one of the studies that I've done, and I can't remember which one it is that it's just a different point of view. Yeah, that's
Yes,
it. It's just a different point of view. It's just a different perspective. There is no right, there is no wrong. It's just the perspective that you're coming from. And although I can see your argument, I'm not going to agree with you, but I'm not going to argue with you because we argue because we want to be right.
yeah,
And when I'm right, it makes you, the other person, wrong. It's that simple.
it is
Okay.
that simple.
Yes, yes, yes. Just another caution that I'd like to put on this new moon at the moment, Thea, is that Virgo also represents, because of the tendency towards inferiority and humbleness and putting other people first, etc., they can be very anxious, and their nerves. I mean, the nervous system, which is the Mercury, could be playing up quite a lot at the moment. So please, if you are feeling nervous, if you are feeling watch your nerves at the moment. Make sure that you're getting enough rest. Make sure that you're sleeping enough. Make sure that you are what is actually making you nervous, and then start addressing that in your analytical type of way. And remember that a moon in Virgo is a little bit detached, because Virgo is very much about the mind. So
Yeah,
fortunately, again, from an emotional point of view, we can be just that little bit detached, which we've been practicing since the last full moon, where we had the moon in Aquarius, which was all about detachment.
yeah.
So just
So,
use that energy.
yeah, and Virgo is also very much attention to detail, so with that detachment, you get to just stand a little bit back maybe and see the bigger picture, than rather being close at it and not have the full picture. Because also we do have a lot of retrograding planets at the moment, so there's a lot of like, you want to go forward, but there's still a bit of setback, holdback, restriction, limitation. And I feel like be gentle towards yourself when you do actually stumble on a limitation or a restriction or a setback. That's probably the better, and then just use that and review the situation, be calm about it, don't get anxious about it, don't work yourself up to a state where you think you're a failure and you judge yourself again and you criticize yourself again, because that's just a vicious circle that's going to make things worse, like an avalanche.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. So, Thea, won't you please expand a little bit on what you said about there's a lot of planets in retrograde at the moment? So let's just remember right now, we actually may be talking to an audience that is not astrologers. So what would that mean for us right now? And maybe you'd like to just explain the outer planets, because it's all the outer planets that are in retrograde. So yeah, there you go. If you can just explain that to us, please.
Okay, first of all, I don't know. Okay, let's assume nobody knows nothing. That a retrograding planet is not literally the planet going backwards. It appears from our perspective from Earth because of the ecliptic. I can never say that word.
Ecliptic.
Yeah, it appears to be going backwards. So basically, you take the planet and the archetype and what the planet presents in the sign where it is, to get the energy. And I mean, like if we take Uranus, for instance, the outer planets, first of all, is that's the planets we actually track when we do look at transits and everything, because they move slower and they've got a lot more impact. They make a lot of, because they lock sometimes. If they're in a trine, they're there for a while because they move so slowly. And when they retrograde, so for instance, with Uranus going retrograde on the 2nd of September, I think, wherever it is in your chart where the Taurus is, and that where Uranus brings in that energy of innovation, and you want to go forward and do things and whatever. Now we're going to get a bit of a hold back. We get to go review again. Why is things not working? I've been trying to do this and it just doesn't want to get off the ground, the project or whatever you're busy with. So now with Uranus going retrograde, we get to go internal again. Like we in ourselves for the last few months, actually already doing all this reviewing. This is just now another layer where we go within, and like now we're gonna, Uranus is, I feel Uranus is a very spiritual planet, actually, you know, like, and it's quick and it's sudden and it's, you know, very electrifying. And now we're going to go and we're going to, Uranus is going to show us how to align eternally to be able to manifest on the outside. So now, and I feel like it could bring a lot of personal turmoil, you know, like I don't always think Uranus is the best planet to show you things because it's quite abrupt. But I feel it does it so quick and so explosive, you can't not look at it and realize it and realign to manifest. Does that even make sense?
It does make sense. Thea, so if I can just add over here, because so Uranus has been in Taurus for many years already. For at least because it's usually in a sign for plus minus 7-8 years. And it's now getting to the end of Taurus. Now, Taurus is the sign of the land. It is agriculture. It's the sign of the land. It's the sign for money and resources and all the rest of it. So we have definitely in the last 8 years, 7 years, seen a lot of changes in terms of what's happening in the because in the global financial situation, because we've got to remember that the outer planets, being Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, affect us globally because of that slow movement that you were talking about here. So with all of this happening, and it being at the last degree, it's really the case of, you know, a little while ago, like, I don't know, a decade ago or whatever, there was that whole thing about we need to change our attitude about money. And we had the John Keoghs and I can't even remember all the names of these gurus that came along to change your attitude about money. Believe you me, Uranus is doing a very, very good job for all of us in terms of us actually reviewing how we look at our resources.
And just to add to that, sorry, Michelle, on a global level, even if you look at BRICS, I mean, that's globally, they are busy de-dollarizing. You know, they want to get rid of the dollar completely. So if that doesn't show you what Uranus can do in Taurus, then, and even with all the cryptocurrency.
Yes.
I mean, it's really in the last 7 years that it has been all over. Yeah.
So and that is Uranus in Taurus. I mean, we, you know, like astrology can't give you the exact words to the tune, but it can tell you the tune. We know that Uranus in Taurus was going to affect our monetary systems, our resources, our food, our agriculture, maybe a lot of tectonic plates and all the rest of it. But you said something there, Thea. Okay, I can't go back to it because I can't remember what it was that you said. But that is the whole thing with Uranus. So with this new moon, and we've got Uranus that's about to go retrograde, it's a perfect time for you to also analyze your resources. And again, your resources that you are analyzing is your money, your finances. There's nothing wrong. You must remember that Virgo is quite frugal. And maybe as a concept, you can begin to look at, so what does frugality look like? Frugality is not poor. It's actually using your resources a lot more consciously. And it's really about being so conscious about, do I really need that, or am I wasting here? And that wasting could be the money or whatever the case may be. So that would be Uranus.
And with Mercury forming a square to Uranus, be prepared for quick perspective shifts. One moment you're feeling like that over a situation, next moment, or breakthroughs even on as to how to manage your resources. I would like to say keep a pen close for those innovative ideas.
Nice. So Thea, tell me why you're talking about Mercury and why should it be relevant for the new moon?
Yeah, because obviously we haven't touched on that yet. Mercury is the ruler of Virgo, which means it's the ruler of this new moon. So we definitely have to look at Mercury. And I feel like with Mercury being out of retrograde now, so closely to this new moon, it brings a nice energy for me in terms of we can see clearly now. We're a little bit out of our little bubble.
Yes.
So
Thea, just to tie up very quickly what you said, because the new moon is in Virgo, the ruler of Virgo is Mercury. Mercury represents our mind. It represents our mental facility. Okay. So it's just our everyday thinking, right? Uranus represents our higher thinking. And that's not going into retrograde in terms of reflect, review, retreat, etc., etc. So we've actually got the two minds being together here. So Thea, what you just said about carrying that pen around with you to actually write down and jot down those unique ideas, those sudden ideas. And in fact, you've just given me something here, Thea, and in fact, I don't get to write it down, and maybe I should just keep my phone near me so that I can just record it quickly. Because it is coming, believe it or not, quite fast and furious. So that's another thing in terms of us needing to move away. Look how the planets work. The south node on the Venus is telling us that we need to let go of the stuff that doesn't serve us anymore, especially in terms of relationships and our resources. We've now got this whole square happening between Mercury and Uranus, which is bringing in all these beautiful new ideas. Those new ideas that you need the self-love. You need to love yourself. You need to have the faith and trust in yourself to be able to go out and actually not let these unique, electrifying ideas fall to dust, but actually become something in your life. I think that just begins to tie that up so nicely, doesn't it, Thea?
Yes, and the thing is, I feel as well, and I can see it in my own life, if I write something down, the likeliness of it becoming a reality or something I act upon, rather than just keeping the idea in my mind, the likelihood when I write it down that it actually becomes a tangible, true thing is more likely than when I don't write it down, because then it just goes.
Yes.
The idea.
So that is a very beautiful tool for us to do. So one of the things that I just want to speak about that is one of the outside influences around this new moon, but I think it's very relevant. Okay. Thea, and that is the fact that Neptune, the planet of deceit, is in its own sign, Pisces. Well, it's the planet of illusion, which includes deceit, veiling, and all the rest of it, is actually sextile to Pluto, the planet of power. And Pluto has just gone back into Capricorn, which is all the old structures of corporations, governments, and all the rest of it. Now, from a worldly perspective, so let me just backtrack for a moment. A sextile is where things actually flow a little bit more easily. So although the one is in water and the other one is in earth, but they're in sextile to each other. I am right. Yes.
Yeah.
They're also both so they're also both feminine, by the way. So it's all about going with the flow, right? Using your intuition. Now, we all know that if you do something you love, something that you love, we all know that it then actually flows. It's easy to do it. We all know that if you do something that you don't like and you feel resentful towards it, or whatever the case may be, there's obstacles, there's challenges, there's limitations. So I think that the sextile, going back to the new moon, I think that the sextile between Neptune and Pluto, whatever's going to play out on the international arena is going to play out on the international arena. But for us personally, I think this is why you are analyzing that which you love. You are learning to love yourself and trust yourself that you are good enough, because that's going to allow the sextile between Pluto. This is when you're beginning to work with astrology to help you. Because that Neptune Pluto, although it's out of planets, they can actually help ease you into your whole idea of how you are moving forward into your future.
Well, let's face it. I mean, those two are outer planets, but our outside world does affect how we move forward in our own capacity at the end of the day.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
I
yes.
think we get to review both those planets again are retrograde. So we get to review a lot of things, especially as well when it comes to power figures and our governments and all of those structures.
Yes, yes, yes.
It's easier. I think it's also a time where it's easy for them to like try to put a veil over our eyes. But I feel like with all this Uranus energy and stuff, you know, there's no time for that time for them to try to like put the veil in front of our eyes is long gone. Yes. I mean, if you can't see, you can't, then you can't see. And maybe you deserve to be fooled like that.
So you know what, Thea, when you say that, so here's the Pluto and here's the Neptune, and they both at what's called 29 degrees, which is the anaretic degree. It's a critical degree in the sense that we're getting to the very, very end. And the analogy that I get in my head is that last gasp of breath.
Yes.
And so we're going to see that last gasp of breath coming out in terms of, I mean, Neptune in Pisces is all about diseases and viruses and sicknesses and
I almost want to put religion in there as well.
And religion in there as well. Yes, yes, yes. And Pluto in Capricorn is all about the structures, the governments, the heads of, and all the rest of it. And what's interesting is that there's this last gasp of Pluto as when it moves out of Capricorn in November. I think it's the 19th of November. It's then in Aquarius. It doesn't come back to Capricorn for the next 284 years, and we're not here anymore, so we don't have to live through that. Well, we might be, but you never know. So I think
Yes.
that's important. So Thea, just one last thing is that you did mention the opposition with Saturn to the new moon. Would you like to just take us through that to give us some tools of how we've got Saturn in opposition? First of all, what does it mean? And then the next thing is how can we use that Saturn to actually help us through this new moon?
So the opposition means that the moon and Saturn is opposite each other. So you can see there on the chart, the moon is in Virgo and Saturn is in Pisces, also in retrograde. I feel this moon might bring a sense of responsibility and a sense of duty as well. And then also it might bring limitations and setbacks. So again, with all these retrogradations and this opposition, the chances that you might experience some setback somewhere in your life it's there. But please don't make a big thing about it. It shall pass, guys. It will pass. You know, we've got so much supportive energies, and I feel if you like truly go inside of you and see why is things affecting you a certain way, and why do I feel A, B, and C because of my setback? Within that is your key to get out of it, you know, to like work with this setback. And Uranus is supporting us.
Yes.
With pinpointing the key points. Yeah.
And there are a lot of other things that are supporting us as well in one way or another. So as much as we've got, so just on that note here, I actually shared this with you a little bit at the beginning of when we were still chatting. So I decided to actually pick some tarot cards in terms of this reading and what do we take out of it. And it was very interesting for me that the strength card of the major arcana was came through. So I think for us, that's just a general message of we need to start standing in our own strength. Okay. And my strength doesn't look the same as Joe's strength or Susie's strength or whoever's strength. You need to actually discern what is your strength. Use that Saturn to actually recognize your weaknesses so that you can work on them, but you don't use them to paralyze yourself. Oh, well, I can't do this because I'm weak in that.
Yes.
Okay. Concentrate in this next 28 days on your strength. Okay. And then the two cards that came up to support that fear I found very, very interesting was emotional withdrawal and accelerated motion. So
Yeah.
why I'm so interested in that is because the moon in Virgo is not an emotional sign. It's not, the moon is emotional, but Virgo is not emotional. It's mental. Okay. So the fact that there's an emotional withdrawal, just use the energy right now to be a little bit more distant, a little bit more objective, a little bit more discerning. Use it because there's going to be accelerated motion in the world that we live. It's going to seem as if we thought the world was going mad before now, I think the next 3 months are going to show us that what madness could really look like, but time will tell how that all plays out. What do you think, Thea?
That just made me feel or think about like how necessary it is at this time to detach emotionally from not just well, first of all, I suppose relationships that doesn't serve you. well, you need to detach. You cannot hang on to that any longer. And even things, I mean, what emotion do we attach to things, you know, like earthly things? We There's no time for having attachments, I feel, to things. And I feel that is the things that maybe holds us back to not, what was the other card? Acceleration,
Yeah, to
accelerate.
not go into accelerated motion, which is your
Yeah.
ambitions,
Yes.
your goals, etc.
Mm.
Absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, if I can just let the viewers know that today we've actually concentrated on the new moon in Virgo. It's happening on the 3rd of September at 3:56 in the morning in South Africa. Um, and what we will be doing is next week, we will be looking a little bit more at these transits that we've looked at. But if this is piquing the interest of any of our viewers, please know that if you want to know yourself and how all of this is affecting you personally, you can come to either one of us. Thea will be putting the information below. You can come
Yeah.
to either one of us or Isabella to have your chart read, which will give you a lot more insight into yourself. And the other thing is in towards the end of January next year, we're starting our next course where you can learn the language of astrology. It's fun, it's exciting. So
Yeah.
perhaps if you wanted to know more and be able to really use a tool that is very beneficial for your own self-development and that of the relationships and the people around you, then maybe this is something that you would like to consider. On
Yes.
that note, Thea, is there any last message that you would like to leave our viewers with?
Just that we're holding a lot of energy at the moment. And I feel that we should just hold space for shifts. There's a lot of shifting that happens. We're shifting seasons, there's a lot of shifts happening, guys. So be kind to yourself, be gentle to yourself, and hold this space for your other people, even, you know.
Yes, yes, very much
Your,
so.
yeah,
And for me, I think that what I'd like to sum up with: the truth will set us free. And what we have to do here is we have to stop putting in our own limitations and get to the truth of ourselves, our essence of who we truly are, what our gifts are. And actually, right now, with Virgo being the time to plant the seed, this is so much the perfect time for you. So on that notice, I'm going to actually say goodbye to our viewers. We'll stop sharing. I'm going to say goodbye to our viewers, and we wish you a very, very, very happy new moon for the 3rd of
yeah.
September. May the next 28 days be blessed. We will see you in a week's time to actually talk more about the transits that are happening now, to give you a little bit more insight into